Salvete discipuli. In this video lesson, we will continue our exploration of the passage in which Caesar describes his attempted invasion of Britannia. We will hear more about the disadvantages that the Romans have in succeeding in this naval landing, and also about some of the considerable advantages that the Britons who are defending their shores have. Okay, here's where we left off last time, okay? So what Caesar's describing is the inherent problem he has with these boats he's using for his naval landing. They could only be stationed in deep water on account of their size. As we move forward now in what is still a lengthy sentence, Caesar is going to describe what are some of the other disadvantages that his soldiers have, and then also what the advantages of the enemy are. Okay. Militibus autem, ignotis locis, impeditis manibus, magno et gravi onere armorum oppressis, simul et de navibus disiliendum et influctibus consistendum et cum hostibus erat pugnandum. Okay, this is quite a sentence, and we're obviously going to break it down. Okay, now militibus is actually a dative, believe it or not, because it is going all the way back to the fact that we have these gerundives here. Okay, these gerundives have a dative as the agent, okay? So just as you would say Carthago delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed, if you wanted to say Carthage must be destroyed by me, you would actually say the dative mihi, Carthago mihi delenda est, Carthage must be destroyed by me. So basically these are the things that it must be done by, understood, our soldiers, okay? The soldiers, however, ignotis locis, unaccustomed to the place. Okay, so in other words, they've never been here before. It's an advantage to be fighting somewhere you've never been. Impeditis manibus, with hands encumbered. Okay, if you're going to invade somewhere, you have to bring all your gear with you. Okay, the British, they basically have like a home somewhere. They're on the shore only with their weapons. These guys have not their weapons. They have their tent. They have their backpack. They have all these things. Magno et gravi onere armorum oppressis. Weighed down, oppressis is the past participle. They are weighed down. What are they weighed down with? Well, what they're weighed down with is an onere, which is a load, okay? It's a load of weapons. The word armorum is genitive plural, okay? They're weighed down with a load of weapons. What kind of a load? A magno et gravi load. That's what kind. A large and heavy load of weapons. So they had to simultaneously, at one time, they had to do three things, and the three things are going to be expressed by these gerundives, okay, at the same time, simul. Now, again, gerundive plus the verb to be, est or erat, it must be run. Okay, now that's what we call an impersonal gerundive. It must be run. If we want to express agency, again, we're going to use the dative. Quinto currendum est. Literally, it must be run by Quintus. Of course, that means Quintus must run. Vinum bibendum Caesari erat. Okay, so the wine must be drunk by Caesar, meaning Caesar had to drink the wine. And again, by the way, this is dative. Okay, so getting back to that word militibus. In form, militibus could be dative or ablative plural. Here it is dative. Matellae epistula mittenda est. The letter must be sent by Metella, or Metella must send the letter. Okay, so getting back now to here. All of these are datives, militibus. And then it's describing the soldiers as like being unaccustomed to the place, but it stays in the dative because militibus is the main issue here. It's going to be the militibus must do these three actions, disiliendum, consistendum, and pugnandum. Okay, so desilio means to jump down, okay? Fluctibus is waves. Consisto is to stand up, okay? So we're going to change this. The soldiers, they had to. But understand, again, these were impersonal gerundives. Literally, it must be jumped down by the soldiers is they had to jump down de navibus, from the ships. And after they jump down from the ships, what do they have to do? In fluctibus consistendum. Okay, so again, literally, it must be stood up in the waves by the soldiers, means they had to stand up in the waves. And then they had to do one more thing. Again, literally, it must be fought by the soldiers with the enemies. They must fight with the enemy. Okay? Okay, so now Caesar is going to describe the advantages that the enemy has and what the enemy now are doing to oppose this naval landing. Cum illi. Now, when you have cum not followed by an ablative, I've taught you that your go-to translation really is when. There are times when there are other options that might be better, sometimes while, sometimes since, or because, or although, depending on the context. Here, I'm going to suggest the translation while, because the Romans are doing one thing while the Celts are able to do something else. While they, okay, so out means or. When you have out followed by another out, it means either or, okay? So while they were either doing this or that, okay? Ex arido, from dry land, or progressi, having progressed. This is the past participle of the deponent verb progredior, okay? Progredior, to progress, having progressed. So again, progressi is the past participle of a deponent verb. Having progressed where? Paulum, a little bit in aquam, into the water. Okay, so they are on shore, okay, and as the Romans are getting closer, they can either continue standing on shore and fighting from there, or they can even wade into the water a little bit, and we're going to learn they can actually do this safely because of an advantage they have, okay? Omnibus membris expeditis, all their members unencumbered. Okay, so the Romans, of course, as we said, they've got their backpacks, they've got their sleeping bags, they've got their food. These guys don't have to worry about that. They're just there with their weapons, okay? So they are omnibus membris expeditis, with all their members, meaning their limbs, their arms, unencumbered. Now, notissimis locis, in places very well known. Okay, so now these are all ablatives, by the way. Membris is an ablative. Notissimis locis is an ablative. Say with this or in this. In places very well known. What this means is they know, for instance, like where the shore is still shallow. They know how far they can walk out and maybe still be in water just up to their knees, okay? They know, like, well, I don't dare go much farther. I know that it drops off really fast from here. But since they know that, they have that advantage. They are in notissimis locis. Audacter tella conicerent, confidently were throwing spears. Okay, so this goes back to the illi. They were confidently throwing spears. Now, cum again takes a subjunctive verb. You've mostly seen cum with the pluperfect subjunctive in a sentence like, for instance, cum haec dixisset, okay, when he had said these things, okay? Here, The imperfect is formed by taking the infinitive. That's why we've got the ERE and the ARE here. You add the endings to that infinitive form, and you have the imperfect subjunctive. So that's why we're expressing that as were throwing spears, okay? So they're doing this confidently, again, because their limbs are unencumbered. They are in places that are well known to them. They have progressed, okay, having progressed either a little bit into the water or still on dry land. They've got a lot of advantages, okay? And what else are they doing? Et incitarent, and were goading on. Now, we've also had this verb to mean to cheer on, but since the object is going to be horses, we're going to keep it kind of like equestrian here. They were goading on. Again, incitarent is an imperfect tense subjunctive verb. What they were goading on were equos insuefactos, horses accustomed. Now, understood, accustomed to this sort of thing, okay? So in other words, they have trained their battle horses to understand, I'm going to be on your back, I'm going to be throwing spears from your back, I'm going to sometimes even take you a little ways into the water while I fight, okay? So these horses are insuefactos. They are accustomed to this sort of thing. Again, just once again, a further advantage that the Britons have in this attack.